Well, hello everybody. Let me start by taking this off. Let me also start by thanking you for participating in this virtual town hall meeting. I want to also always acknowledge all of the residents of the city of Birmingham, but today is especially for the residents of District 9. I'm happy to co-host this town hall meeting with the representative and city councilor of District 9, John Hilliard, someone who I admire, respect, and appreciate his passion and commitment to serve the residents of District 9. I want to say a few things. I'll turn it over to the councilor to say a few things, and then he'll turn it over to me to go into a deeper dive of some of the issues we've been addressing for the residents of District 9. But when I say District 9, I just want to acknowledge some of the neighborhoods. Hooper City, Sitco, North Birmingham, Hensley, Wylam, Enum Ridge, Thomas, East Thomas, Dolomite, and so many others that I know the councilor filled me in on for those who I'm not intentionally leaving out. The point is this: the Northwest, the neighborhoods in North Birmingham as well as the northwest side of Birmingham are really important to the fabric and identity of the city. And I think some of the root issues is what we want to talk about today as it relates to blight and how we've addressed blight removal, paving streets and the streets we've been paving, and potholes and sidewalks, and all of those basic things that are really important at the root of an actual neighborhood. And so with that, I want to pause. I want to give Councilor Hilliard the floor to make some introduction to you, and then we'll get into some actual sharing of information. Councilor Hilliard.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to remove my mask also. Yes, this new norm is quite an interesting situation we're in, but it's awesome to be here doing this town hall meeting with our Mayor, Randall Woodfin. I want to say to the citizens of District 9, it's exciting to the fact that the mayor, every time I've called on him for our district and things in our district, he's not hesitated to get involved and help me push through the things that we need. So I want to say to him, Mayor, thank you for being involved. Thank you for answering our calls. Thank you for participating in our weekly meetings that we've had. You've come and spoke when we've asked you to, and I'd like to continue this working relationship that we've been having. So to the citizens of District 9, we have come a long ways over the last 2.5 years and know that we have a long way to go. And I just appreciate working with you and being here today in this town hall meeting. I want to turn it back over to the mayor and let him begin to talk about some of the accomplishments that we've made together in District 9.
Thank you, Councilor Hilliard. And in just that, there have been a lot of things we've been able to accomplish jointly, the mayor's office and the city council's office, from Councilor Hilliard on your behalf here in District 9. We both love our working relationship with the neighborhood presidents and vice presidents and secretaries. It's just so much passion in this district. So a couple housekeeping rules to note before we take a deeper dive. One is, as it relates to any questions you have, at a later date, what we'll do is be in a position to not only post a question, but also post the answer for you. In addition to that, we'll be doing a lot of reading because there's so much information in this packet. From time to time, I'll have to look down to share this information with you. But somewhere on your screen, you should be able to see the information I'm calling out loud. The third thing is this: at any point in time while I'm sharing this information, Councilor Hilliard can chime in if he wants to add anything. So with that, we'll jump right in. The first thing is this. Many of you all know in District 9, you have a minimum of 3 community resource officers and representatives. I just want to acknowledge them right quick. One is Jasmine Fels, and the other is Herman Lonzi and Melanie Martin. The presidents, the vice presidents, and secretaries of the neighborhood associations definitely know who these 3 people are because they always attend the monthly meetings. So acknowledging them and thanking them for the work they do, working with the neighborhood officers, not just at the monthly meeting, but on a daily basis. Now I want to dive into something that's really important in District 9, and that is blight removal. When Councilor Hilliard and I both took office, there was significant blight in District 9. And that blight exists across our city. We've been very aggressive at addressing blight since we took office back in November of 2017. But we got over aggressive on a daily basis throughout the entire city, starting January of 2018. And I just want to give you a number. As to date, January 1 of 2018, we've structures demolished in District 9 have been right at 200. Those that were contracted by the city for demolition are 182, and those that are contracted by private demolition, 18. And so since January 1 of 2018, I just want to repeat that, we've torn down or removed 200 dilapidated properties that are beyond repair in District 9. The next thing I want to talk about is the continuation of demolition in the form of there are 59 additional properties in the queue to be demolished that are beyond repair. These 59 properties are either on the condemned structure list as of May 20th of this year, and they are broken down, which I want to give to you. That's 1 in a zip code Finley, there's 3 in Central Pratt, 1 in Dolomite, 2 in East Thomas, 2 in Indian Ridge, 23 in Inslee, 7 in Evergreen, which I didn't acknowledge earlier, 3 in Hooper City, I didn't acknowledge Sandusky as well, which have 2, Sherman Heights, y'all gonna beat me up in a minute, 1, Smithfield Heights 1, South Park 2, and Wylam 11. Councilor Hilliard, as it relates to blight, is there anything you want to add before we go to the next topic?
Well, let me say this, Mayor. You have done an excellent job in working with us to keep those on the list and to continue to work with your department to get around to actually taking care of those business. In some parts of our district where we were not able to tear down structures because they had some other issues that had to be worked through the courts and ownership, you were able to put fences around those properties, which we greatly appreciated that to create the safety in that community, and that was in the Wylam area. And so we greatly appreciate that, and we know that it takes time. And we're in an unusual environment right now, which means that from time to time in some of your departments, people have to go on medical leave and be out because of COVID-19 while being quarantined. So I often ask our citizens to please be mindful of that and bear with us, and we will get around to you on these projects.
Thank you, Councilor. And Councilor just made a note. He says the unusual times we in. There is a really, really important housekeeping note I failed to mention, and it's one that Councilor Hilliard always reminds us of every public Tuesday meeting, which is this. The COVID-19 is still real. It's still a danger in our community, and it still has not only the potential, but active community spread. We are doing this style town hall instead of actually being in one of our schools or churches in District 9 because of the COVID-19. So Councilor Hilliard and I, in his words, you need to take this serious. You need to wear your facial cover. You need to be cognizant of what you touch. You need to continue to use the elbow dab, not shaking hands or hugging someone that's not in your household. And just, we want to remind you, please continue to take this serious. Please continue to use social distancing. Councilor, I know you passed it back to me, but I know you are very passionate about this topic. So I'm gonna lob it back to you before we go on.
Absolutely. I appreciate the mayor making light of that. Things are still at a critical level. The numbers are going up in Alabama, period. We have a chance. I know you're tired of being, as they say, cooped up in the house and you can't move around, but for your safety, it's still real. People are still going to the hospital. In our neighboring city of Montgomery, it is just out of control. There are no hospital beds, and now they just passed on yesterday something that the mayor and I did several weeks ago, where they are requiring people, an executive order to require people to wear masks. So it's very important that you protect yourself, you protect your loved ones with the mask ordinance. And know this, we know you're smart, we know that you're brilliant, and you will use your common sense to tell you to watch out for your neighbor and loved one. Be careful. It is extremely serious. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. All right, so listen, in addition to the actual demolition in District 9, another really important topic is zoning enforcement. And so this is one of the things Councilor Hilliard gets calls about, and then he engages my office, and we attempt to respond and address all these zoning enforcement issues in District 9. So, as of today, we have 31 active zoning enforcement cases. Of those 31, 23 are actually closed out in District 9, which is really impressive. That means the people on the ground, as it relates to our employees, are not only taking these calls seriously, but they're addressing them. So again, just to repeat that, of the 31 active zoning enforcement cases, 23 are closed out, and there's still a few more remaining to address. These issues include violations such as business use of residential property, outside storage, home occupation violations, fence violations, as well as some inoperable vehicle cases. Not all inoperable vehicle cases, but some as it relates to the zoning enforcement issues. In addition to zoning enforcement, we also have our housing code enforcement violations. Now, this is not a number we're proud of, but it does show you that the balance we strike, as even as huge as District 9 is, we're actively and aggressively addressing the housing code enforcement violations. I'm sad to state that there are a minimum of 2,323 housing code enforcement violations we've addressed in District 9 since January of 2019. Everybody, that's just a year and a half. That's over 2,300. That's too much. We are going to have to do a better job of policing ourselves and taking more pride in our own home, where we live, on our own block, our own street. So again, that number, 2,323 housing code inspections have been conducted in District 9 since January of 2019. I want to share with you some of these violations. These include properties reported to be in violation of the city's property maintenance code. They include things such as deteriorated roof systems, damaged windows or doors, chipped exterior paint, damage or deteriorated facades, and inadequate utility service. We know that every home issue is not the same. We have many programs, which I'll get into in a minute, but I just want to remind our residents to be mindful of being more cognizant of making sure we take care of our properties in our own block and on our own streets. Councilor Hilliard, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Well, I'd like to say, please continue to reach out to David and Caleb, because they're your ground force in the community. You know that Tevin is always here to take your phone calls and log it in, but we have a login system where we log the time, the date that you call, and asking you to call 311. We log the reference number, and we track them throughout our district, throughout our office, to make sure, and throughout the city of Birmingham, to make sure that your complaints are being heard. Many of you know this, that talk to us, that we're extremely active and would like to continue to be active. So as these 2,300 go through the system, you'll know where they are, and that they're being taken care of. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Now, so again, earlier I acknowledged that those 2,300 housing code enforcement violations, but I think it's important that people know that you can seek help. We're happy to say that through our community development program, community development department, we have a program that addresses critical repair. Residents can actually apply. There's an application process. It's competitive. There are rules. The city of Birmingham, I want you to know, don't set the rules. A lot of that funding is through our community block grant funding, and there are certain requirements and criteria and background you have to have. So I do want you to know this. From the critical repair applicant pool, a minimum of 19 have been from District 9. That's 2 residents in Sitco Finley, that's 3 in East Thomas, 6 in Inslee, 2 in Hooper City, 1 in North Birmingham, 2 in Smithfield Estates, 1 in South Pratt, and 2 in Wallam. Now the average cost for a critical repair grant per home is right at about $13,700. The smallest amount can be on the low end, $2,100, and the maximum amount for a critical repair grant is $15,000. So just want to encourage you. I imagine many of you all have probably applied before and you've been denied, but check in with the community development department to see what keeps you from being granted one, or see what you need to do to be granted one, and I know they can help you. Councilor, is there anything you wanted to add to that before we go to our next topic?
Well, no, I think you've been quite clear on that issue. I would just like to encourage people, please take advantage of these opportunities. And even if you've been turned down, as the mayor has mentioned, don't give up and call us. If we can do anything to write or maybe help you, we will be glad to do that.
Thank you, Counselor. So listen, many of you all know about the Don't Be a Dummy campaign that was directly engaged at, we needed people to be additional eyes and ears for us to fight back against either one, unfortunately some of our own neighbors feeling too comfortable dumping in their own neighborhood, which is not cool, or even worse, outside people who don't live here coming into our city and dump. We know certain parts of District 9 has that element based on where they are located in our city as entrance and exit points to another municipality. So for example, where Wylam sits in our city limits, where Dolomite sits in our city limit, where Inslee sits, where Hooper City and North Birmingham sit. Some of these areas are not only by major intersections and access points, but some of them are by interstates as well. And so District 9, of all the districts across the city, unfortunately District 9 has a higher share of illegal dumping. But the counselor will tell you, we're tired of it. He's tired of it. The neighborhood leaders are tired of it. The residents are tired of it. And one of the ways we can fight back through this Don't Be a Dummy campaign is keep bringing awareness to this issue. In addition to that, if you see it, we ask that one, you be careful. Be careful by not engaging that person. But you can play a part, pull out your cell phone, take a picture, record a video. If a person's by a vehicle, definitely try to get a picture of that tag. And if you bring that information down to the magistrate, we can swear out a warrant for that person that is illegally dumping in our city, which is against the law. All of that to say this: in District 9, 4 to 6 cases of illegal dumping have been resolved since January 1 of 2019. So in the last year and a half, we resolved 46 cases. But I imagine for every case we resolve, someone else is crazy enough to keep dumping in District 9. And as I stated earlier, that's not cool. So please help us be additional eyes and ears. Definitely got to turn it over to Councilor Hilliard because I know he's passionate about this topic.
Absolutely. You know, I want to say the mayor named especially some of the key ones coming off of Cherry Avenue and that Daniel Payne Drive. It just seems like that as soon as they clean it up over the weekend, it's right back to where it was, because we know people are coming up that road from other areas that are not necessarily in Birmingham and just seems to use it as their dumping ground. So I ask you to be cautious, be careful, and be safe. But if you see something, definitely report it, get a tag number, use your video cameras, and keep it moving. We don't want you to linger around. You're not the police, and we don't want anyone to get in trouble. But I get a lot of calls in that Dolomite area coming in off of that Town Road. It just seems like people use that as a very tough area to throw that litter and dump. And so we want you to be vigilant and to know this, that we hear you and we're working to solve your problems. Thank you, Mayor.
Speaking of, Counselor, this Saturday, if I'm correct, is District 9 taking part of the west side cleanup?
Yes, it will be at the it will start at the McAlpine Park, where we will leave from in that area, and we're excited about that. Unfortunately, we'll play double team, my team and I, because at the Hooper City Recreation we'll have another food giveaway that will be in that area with boxes of food and fruits and vegetables that we're partnership with a group of others to make sure that we feed the homeless. But we're excited about that cleanup. We are working very hard. This is not the first one that we've had with the mayor and them in District 9 area. We've done several cleanups along with the Village Creek Society. So we're really excited about that cleanup. Cleaning up District 9, that's the way to go. Thank you, Mayor, for bringing that to the table, and we're excited to be participating.
So I'm definitely going to use the council's words and say, and like all honesty, I'm very excited as well. And I want you to be excited. So listen, if you are a resident of District 9 and you can hear the sound of my voice and Councilor Hilliard's voice, we want you out there with us this Saturday morning. Yes. We're starting at 8 a.m. We'll probably be out there until at least 12. We need you to get up out of your bed. We need you to help us take pride in your neighborhood. It's not cool to get off an exit and dump your food outside of the car. It's not cool to be walking from the convenience store back to your house and dump whatever you finish using or eating on your sidewalk. We need you to help us take pride where you live, on your block, on your street, in your neighborhood. Come out, join us this Saturday, help volunteer, take pride in your neighborhood. Thank you so much. Next topic we're going to talk about is weed abatement. And so we know that if we're aggressive about tearing down these dilapidated houses or that are beyond repair, it creates a second problem, which is lots, which can become overgrown. Now, District 9, again, that's probably landmass-wise, is one of the largest districts in the city. Definitely has the most neighborhoods. I think Councilor Hilliard likes to remind me at least 17. Because of that, that's a lot of lots. Now, here's the number. 3,638. 3,638 lots have been cut or cleaned in District 9 over the last 2+ years. The vacant lots cut by our contractors have been right at 1,200, and the weed lots abated and cleaned by an owner or city staff have been 2,400 plus. Now, in the queue to be cut are 2,000 plus vacant properties active in the weed bill for District 9 just by itself. These are properties that are either waiting to be put on a contractor list or still being in the process. All of that to say we hear you. It is a process. The law doesn't allow Councilor Hilliard and I just to go on somebody's property and cut their lot, even if it's overgrown, because it's private property. And so we have to go through an actual legal process, which slows down, unfortunately, our ability to cut that grass faster than we want to. But we're on it. We know it's summertime coming. We'll be very intentional about this summer. Councilor, before we go to the next topic, anything you want to talk about the overgrown lots?
Well, Mayor, I think you've covered that. I asked our citizens to be patient, to know that we are in an unusual time with COVID-19. There are people in these departments in the city that have to, from time to time, quarantine and have loved ones at home that may be sick. So we don't have the necessary means to get out as quick as we used to. So bear with us, but know this, we are vigilant, we are working, we're taking your complaints, and we're doing the very best that we possibly can, and we'll continue to work with your calls and your issues. Just remember, please call 311, get a tracking number, and you can call our office, and we'll be happy to start working with you and track it through the system. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. So here, listen everybody, the next 3 topics we're going to talk about, I'm going to try to be more succinct, give the information, then I'll pass it to the councilor. They include talking about potholes and pothole repair, street paving, what we've been doing and what we're going to be doing in the future, and sidewalk repair. So jumping right in. Potholes repaired in District 9 over the last year and a half, 1,430. Now that is a large number of potholes that have either been patched or repaved. Again, potholes repaired in District 9 since January of 2019, 1,430. Now, potholes repaired and patching, there are various locations. Don't have time to read all of them, but some of them are in Enum Ridge, Bankhead Highway. You have some off Cherry. You have, again, some in Sandusky area, which is off Pratt Highway again. Then you have various places in Inslee, Sitco, Dolomite, Michigan Ave, Fairfax Ave, Heflin, Dora, Caldberg Road, Campbell Lane, and I'm missing so many others. But we definitely want you, if you see the pothole, call the 301, let us know. Across the city, y'all, we literally repair a minimum of 200 potholes a week. So our pothole patching, repaving is aggressive. That team does a lot of work. A lot of you probably don't see it because it's all over the city and they're spread out. But across the city, we patch and repair a minimum of 200 potholes a week. Now, next topic is street resurfacing projects. Again, District 9 has had a significant and considerable amount of street paving. 6.1 miles have been resurfaced just the current fiscal year we're in, which ends June 30th. So just between July 1 of 2019 and June of 2020. In District 9, we have paved 6.1 miles of streets. That is right at $1.8 million in street paving just for this one fiscal year we're currently in. Now, street resurfacing projects. Again, I'm hoping you can see the number of streets that have been paved in your district. It's too many to list, but they exist, again, in Inslee. They exist in other areas of the district. It's too many to name, but I hope you can see that in your queue. So in the interest of time, I'll go to the next topic, which is street resurfacing coming up for the next fiscal year. The street segments that will be resurfaced next fiscal year, which starts July 1 of 2020, is 2.54 miles and an investment of right at about $600,000. The following street segments will be completed in District 9 starting next fiscal year. That's Lewis Street, Valley Drive from 10 Mill Road to Edward Street. That's also 26th Street, Inslee from Avenue I to Avenue C. 14th Court from 3rd Street West to 1st Street North. Jasper Road from Beale Street to Pratt Highway. Beale Street from Maple Ave to Jasper Road, and 24th Avenue North from 11th Place North to 16th Street Place North. These are in the queue set to be paved next year. Now, last topic before I pause and give it back to the counselor to add anything around potholes, street surfacing, and now sidewalks, which is this. 0.9, almost 1 mile of sidewalks have been completed this fiscal year in District 9. That also includes 39 ramps completed, and that's an investment of about $310,000 for sidewalk repair just in District 9 this current fiscal year. Next fiscal year, we'll do a minimum of 1 mile of sidewalk repair. That will include about 60 ramps and an investment of about $400,000. I'll pause there, Counselor. That was the combination of potholes, street resurfacing, and sidewalks. Anything you wanted to add on those topics?
Well, no, I just wanted to say that you're working really hard on our requests, and we really appreciate you really getting on top of it. We know that we have quite a few in District 9, but you have done an excellent job in reaching out and getting started. We have a long way to go. Be patient with us. I will continue to be vigilant with your phone calls. Continue to call us. We'll put it in our queue system. We will continue to track it, and just call my office and we will stay on top of the job. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Counselor. So now I want to go to a new topic, and it's transportation initiatives. Now, the Counselor gets calls. I know because he texts me and he calls me when he gets the call about, let's say, here's an example. Speeding, Cherry in Cherry Avenue area. This is an area that when he gives it to me, I kick it to our transportation department, and as an explicit directive, please investigate this to make sure if there's anything we can do towards traffic calming or making sure people are safer when they drive and pedestrians are safe. We need to do it and act on it. So there's an actual process. All of that to say this: traffic calming information. Traffic calming includes wanting a stop sign, a yield sign, a speed humps, and all these other things that you're concerned about, people committing traffic violations in your district, and you feel or deem it's making it unsafe for pedestrians or other drivers. The Birmingham Department of Transportation is actively investigating streets where traffic calming may be appropriate in District 9 and across the entire city. A helpful guide has been added to our city's website. Every street is different and requires a unique investigation, and that's the point I want to make. Just because you request something for your street doesn't mean you're going to get it. What you will get is an investigation to let you know if we can or cannot honor the request you want. In addition to that, I know the counselor has a lot of thoughts as it relates to the Transportation Committee, and we got some thoughts around scooters and bike share, but I think there's more information to come on that. Before I guess give some brief freestyle remarks, I want to turn it back to the council to see if you had anything to say about transportation issues, traffic calming issues, speeding issues, or anything of that nature based on the calls he gets in District 9.
Well, Mayor, first of all, let me say this. When we receive a call, and we have received several calls about traffic on roads and streets and needing speed bumps in those areas. We've taken the tracking numbers, and we've sent them through the system. And I will say that we've heard back from the mayor's office. They've actually come out and walked the area and sent it to down to transportation, and they're working on getting those areas done. So we're going to work vigilantly and continuously work hard to make sure that your requests are heard, and we believe that that we will continue to fight to see that they're done. So I want to thank you, Mayor, for pushing those areas and those things. So I think we're on target.
All right, so listen, everybody, this is a part of our program that if we were in person, it would be called Let's Talk. That would be in the form of question and answer, but due to coronavirus, not only can we not meet in person, but in the interest of making sure how we manage our time with you virtually, we put a pause on that, and we ask that you submit any questions you have to us, and we'll commit back to you. We'll get those questions and answers in a position where you can see them. Now, I got 2 more notes. Now I'm going to give it to the counselor to share any information he wants to share on his behalf and your behalf of what and how he's engaging the residents of District 9. My point is this: there are 26 commercial districts throughout the city of Birmingham. Several of them are prominent in District 9, downtown Wyland, downtown North Birmingham, and my favorite is downtown Inslee. And it has been the #1 commercial priority district for this administration as it relates to a real example of revitalization. I'll be the first to tell you, I wish I could snap my fingers and make revitalization just speed up and expedite it overnight, but it really doesn't work like that. A portion of this deals with the city of Birmingham, of all of those businesses that exist. We only own 2 of them in 1 empty lot. And so we have to work with the business owners in downtown Inslee. We have to work with everybody in the community to come up with the collective vision on how we move downtown Inslee forward. All of that's to set up to say this: I am very excited about the progress that we're making in downtown Inslee, especially as it relates to the building we own, which is the McCormick building. We've cleared our hurdles in legal and court, and now we have to move towards the reimagining and redevelopment of the McCormick building, which we believe can be an anchor tenant in making sure we drive and move foot traffic to downtown Inslee. But in addition to that, I think it's important when you speak to people like Omar, and you speak to people like Mr. Callens, and you speak to people like Darrell Williams, who are existing small business owners who've been on the ground, who've put in the sweat equity, who are passionate about downtown Inslee. It's important that as an administration we lock arms with these small business owners and be in a position to say, how can we help you? We know that the city is limited. We don't have all the capital in the world. We know as minority business owners, sometimes you have uphill battles with access to capital. But I believe with our collective voice, downtown Inslee, we put a flag in the ground, and I think over the next year you will see the type of movement based on the pre-work we've done in these first 2 years in office, that we'll start to see some results of actual revitalization in the Inslee area. I look forward to living it with you. I look forward to actually working it out, and I look forward to the increased foot traffic that downtown Inslee deserves. That's my Let's Talk point. I now give it all to Councilor Hilliard to share and talk with you about anything he wants to.
Wow, I really appreciate that, Mayor. Let me say this to you. We heard you when you talked about you wanted to see revitalization come to the Inslee area. The mayor and myself, we walked door to door in that area in the community to talk about the repurposing the Ramsey McCormick building and all of the things that you said you wanted. We took your questionnaires and we realized that something needs to be done. So we're working very diligently, and soon you will start to see some real action. As the mayor said, over the next year, you will actually see some repurposing of the Ramsey McCormick, which will bring life to that area. I am so excited to be involved here at this particular point in time in history to say that we're doing some things to make a difference in that area. I also want you to understand this is that this is a time for me to just talk to you one-on-one. I want you to hear what I'm about to say. The census is coming up. That's what's on this t-shirt that I'm wearing. I want you to be vigilant and go. It only takes a couple of seconds for you to fill out your census and get involved, because that's the way that we get money from grants and the federal government, and the way we're counted in census for our votes for Congress and the United States Senate. So you have a role to play. We need you to get registered. It only takes you about 2 minutes. I also want to say to you that it's a pleasure to serve you. We work extremely hard. We do a weekly town hall meeting every Tuesday at 7:30 that comes out of my office, and the mayor has been gracious enough to come on that call and talk to you. We've had as many as 145 people to tune in every time that we call. We have a high number of people. We need you to join that. We need you to call our office at 205-215-8624 and tell us how we'll tell you how we can send you news information out by getting your email address and giving you the call-in number. I'm just so excited that the mayor has allowed me to join in with him on this town hall meeting. And I want you to know this is District 9 time, and we believe in you. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilor, thank you for that update and those gems you dropped on your residents. I'll be very brief on my closing by simply saying this. It's a shout out. It's a shout out to the small business owners all throughout District 9, not just in Ansley, but in Wylam and in Pratt and in North Birmingham and so many other areas that I failed to call. But I want to shout out and acknowledge the small business owners that have been on the ground in District 9 for years, even prior to I was born. So just thank you for the work you do on behalf of the residents in District 9. Shout out to all the nonprofits, boards and agencies, as well as our faith leaders, again, on the ground in District 9, doing the work, not waiting for tax dollars, not waiting for a handout, but putting in the work to make a difference in the quality of life and in the lives of the residents of District 9. Thank you. And look, certainly last but definitely not least, to all the residents of District 9, it is my honor, and I'm very humbled to serve you as mayor and work with Councilor Hilliard on your behalf to continue to push the needle on how we make life better for you. There's a whole lot of more work to do. The 2+ years we've been in office, putting in the work, and it has been an amazing opportunity, and I'm humbled that you allow me to serve as your mayor. Thank you so much. Councilor Hilliard, you want to give us a closeout, sir?
Well, I want to say to the mayor, it's been a pleasure over these last 2 years to really work with your administration in District 9. We've been on top of it. It's just been awesome to be working with the citizens of District 9. All 19 of my neighborhood presidents, I say to you that you are some of the greatest group of bosses I have ever had. You call me around the clock, no matter what time it is, and I do my very best to return your calls. My staff has been engaged with you over the last 2.5 years. We're excited to talk to you every week. We love you. We ask you to continuously stay safe. Remember this environment we're in. Take care of yourself. Wash your hands. Wear your face mask. And treat others the way you want to be treated. Thank you, Mayor, for all that you do in District 9.
Thank you, Councilor. Yo, the coronavirus is real. Y'all be safe. Have a good day.